when programming the station, one of the things we try to ensure is that the programming music that speaks to people's experiences, it also speaks of an answer, or solution. You're not just getting one side of the coin, you're getting both sides of the coin.
You are now listening to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast. The show is designed to help you grow your mobile app audience and get advice from experts in your industry. Now, here's your host, Sean Garvey.
Good day, everyone. It's the Architect here, Sean Garvey, for BV Mobile Apps Podcast. The Architect himself joining with you live. And I want you guys to stay tuned because coming up towards the end of the podcast, we're going to give you some information on how you can get your app customized through BV Mobile Apps. We got all that information and more, so please stay tuned towards the end of the podcast for more details. On the telephone lines with me right here on the BV Mobile Apps Podcast, you know, we have done podcasts before as it pertains to radio stations, whether it's terrestrial radio stations or even internet radio stations, but we decide to switch it up a little bit and take you to church today. And literally, we have a gentleman on the line here who is the owner and founder of Transformation Radio. And today's theme is the importance of having a Christian radio station in the community and the significance of it. So all of my gospel aspiring, inspirational, and gospel artists out there, please listen in to take this valuable information from this gentleman who is not only the owner and founder of Transformation Radio, he's also a DJ. He's a veteran DJ who's been doing this for a long time, and he is here today to give us some great information. On the telephone lines with us is DJ Converzion. DJ Converzion, how you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you? How's it going, everybody?
Doing good. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us today. And I forgot to mention also too, DJ Converzion, that you too are a member of the Fleet DJs. Shouts to the Fleet DJ organization, but you are a faithful member of the organization.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And how long have you been a member of Fleet DJs?
I've been with Fleet DJs, I believe it's going on 4 years. I'm closing in on the end of the third year and soon to start my fourth year.
Okay. All right. So it's been a minute, and I've been told plenty of times from various members of the Fleet DJs that it's not only an organization, but it's also a family-like organization. Everybody is there for each other. Everybody helps with each other, and everybody is their own support system. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is definitely correct.
Awesome. Well, today's theme, like I said, is about the importance of having a Christian radio station in the community. But I would like to take a moment to talk about your background in music. You started out being a DJ between 1984 and 1985, around the time that you was a freshman in high school. And then everything went from there. You even took time out of your life to join the Army, join the military. But what I would like to do is talk to you more about your backstory, behind the scenes, and how you got to where you are at today. So where did the passion for DJing, where did that start at in your years before you became DJ Converzion?
Well, I had an older brother who had a group of friends, and they were DJing already. And I'd already had a passion and a love for music. So just hanging around them kind of got more interested in DJing. And then me and a group of my friends, we kind of formed our own group of DJs and got equipment and things like that, and began to DJ. At that time, I was like a freshman in high school. Okay,
and the rest was history from that point on.
Yes. It was initially it was more short-lived in the beginning because I didn't have any of the equipment. I was probably more of a guy buying the music, so I had records and things like that. And my friends had either secured like turntables and stuff from their parents or something, but I was more of the music aspect of the group, and so after that it just kind of took off from there.
DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ JC, DJ B, DJ Primo, even DJ Scratch, to name a few, became your earlier influences. We all know them to be what we call in the industry secular artists or secular DJs. But what are some of the DJs that are Christian based or what we consider as Christian DJs? Who are those Christian DJs that also influence you in the DJing game?
Early on, after I had got back into DJing, I was influenced by several DJs. Three of them have passed away, but DJ Lace was one out of Georgia. DJ Primo, who's a turntablist out of Texas. He was also in the military, and we connected through the military. And DJ Official from Cross Movement. Those guys inspired me, as well as others. DJ Sean Blue. Drawing a blank. But it's so many out there. DJ Madge, and a host of others, man. It's just so many of them out there that were doing, and everybody had their own flavor. So great influences by all of those guys. But early on, DJ Lace, definitely DJ Primo, and DJ Official were the main influencers.
Now, I heard you say you was in the military, and I mentioned a little bit about that early in the podcast. You joined the military, you joined the Army. And so what did you learn during that time you was in the military regarding more about DJing? And also, too, this is a two-part question. Was there anything that you learned during the military or during your term or stay in the military that helped you grow as a DJ or kind of coincides with the profession as a professional DJ?
Well, I will tell you this. There's always a party going on somewhere in the military outside of the regular duty day. And so I got an opportunity to experience the different things that people, different forms of music or genres of music that people like. And I also got to be the music provider in a lot of instances. So a lot of times it kind of taught me to be prepared in a way of music, making sure I always had a decent catalog of music. And that kind of transferred over to just always scouting for new music, new and relevant music. So it kind of prompted me to be consistent or current with what music was out.
What was one particular challenging moment that you faced early on as a DJ where you can look back and say, man, I should have not done that, or, you know, I could have been better at this? Like, what challenging or stumbling block did you come across as a DJ in your earlier years of this wonderful profession?
Early on, I was hasty in purchasing equipment. I did not do the research that I should have done on a lot of equipment that I bought early on, and so I found myself having to either replace it or upgrade because it wasn't fitting the need. Whereas if I would have done the research, I would have knew automatically that it wasn't going to fit the need that I had. And so just tons of equipment. A lot of it I still have in the box here at home that I just kept over the years. Like, man, and a lot of it is obsolete now. So just doing the research on gear and knowing exactly what it is that I need.
On the telephone lines, if you're just joining with us right here on the BV Mobile Apps podcast, we have Transformation Radio's own DJ Converzion with the architect here, Sean Garvey. And if you're just joining us, we are talking about the importance of having a Christian radio station in the community. So DJ Converzion, let's get right into it. With Christian radio stations, they come a dime a dozen each day, right? And Christian radio stations have been around for a long time. And for those that are not too familiar with my pedigree, I actually worked at a couple of Christian-based radio stations in my earlier years of radio broadcasting. And that's how I got a chance to know people like the Clark sisters, to the Mighty Clouds of Joy, to Mary, Kirk Franklin. And I throw those names in there too, because I've heard of the Kirk Franklins and Mary Marys before I started working at this particular Christian radio station in the past. But I started to learn more and more about the gospel music arena, about the Christian music arena. And a lot of the music that I've heard, it was just so refreshing. It was empowering. It was inspiring. And it sounded good. It sounded really great. It sounded just as good as the secular music that I grew up on. But Christian radio, like, why Christian radio stations? You could have put together a secular radio station, whether it was a hip hop R&B station or a R&B soul radio station or even a jazz radio station. Why a Christian radio station?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a Christian, and all glory goes to God, Jesus Christ, my Savior. But the thing about it was, when I got saved, I was looking for an alternative. I wasn't trying to feed myself the killing, the womanizing, all of the negative things that the secular music brought. Now, over time, I've grown as a Christian, and I've learned to separate what's real and what's not. And so but I wanted to feed myself with something that was going to edify me, enrich me, and help me to edify and enrich others. So I was a big hip hop fan, and my pastor at the time introduced me to Christian hip hop, and it blew my mind because I didn't know it existed. And so it was just, after that, was just sky's the limit. And it wasn't until later on that I actually knew I was going to form a radio station, but hip hop had always been my best friend, I would say, and so it just made sense at the time that I formed the station to have a Christian hip hop radio station.
Let's talk about Transformation Radio. Transformation Radio. How did you come up with the name Transformation Radio, and why Transformation Radio? What does that name of the radio station, what is it conveying to its audience and to its listeners?
Well, Transformation Radio came about as a offshoot of just my DJ name, DJ Converzion. Conversion is about being born again, turning around and going in a different direction. Transformation Radio, in order to be conversion is just another form of transformation. And the book of Romans is my favorite book in the Bible. And so even with conversion, Jesus tells Nicodemus that he must be born again. Well, in being born again, that means you have to change a lot of things. And so searching for a title of a station, it was hard, but it just came to me. It's like, man, conversion, transformation. So Transformation Radio, and I always felt like a station should have a call number. And so the call number would be chapter 12, verse 2. And so that's how I came about with the name Transformation Radio 12-2.
And that is very creative. 12-2, that you did that, and it stands out. We're used to hearing the call numbers anywhere from 3 digits to 4-digit call numbers, but you was very creative in coming up with the name Transformation Radio. I've never heard of a station called Transformation Radio until now, until you brought that to my attention. So special thanks for you, and special thanks to you for coming up with that name. Now, Transformation Radio, I go to it, I click on the button or I click on Listen Live. As a consumer, a radio consumer or a radio listener, what am I going to hear when I listen to Transformation Radio?
Well, we try to, our claim is we play the best variety of Christian hip hop on the planet. So when you go to our station, you'll hear a variety of music, from theologically based music to boom bap based hip hop to Southern to West Coast, more alternative, but it's all hip hop. It's all Christian. It's all Christian or faith based hip hop. And so you'll hear music, but you'll hear a variety of shows. We have every first and third Friday of the month we have a Ladies First Friday where at 7 p.m. Myself and my wife we do a live show and we showcase the many female artists that are putting out music now. It's a 2-hour show. You'll also hear shows like the Chicago Mix Show featuring so we have mix shows. We have podcast type shows that incorporate music and interviews. We have a variety, probably about 3 or 4 of those shows. And more notably, we have the Track Stars, who run a big podcasting network out of Atlanta. So we have a variety. It's a variety of shows, and so something for everybody.
I like that. It's something for everybody, and of course, it's family oriented. So when people listen to Transformation Radio, they don't have to worry about listening to anything that's what's the word I'm looking for? Glorifying drugs or glorifying the trap lifestyle or any type of sexual innuendo or anything that is graphic or could be offensive to the listener or to young people. You don't have to worry about saying only for mature audiences only. It's something for everybody, like you just said, and it's family oriented, and it conveys a message and it's empowering to people. Now, we have a lot of independent artists that listen to us, that listen to the BV Mobile Apps podcast, and we're all about helping people starting out in the industry, especially independent artists, grow their brand. And a lot of those independent artists that come to us are also gospel artists, are also Christian-based artists, whether they are hip-hop artists or even R&B artists, or not just saying R&B artists, but vocalists that sing gospel music or inspirational music. So break down the steps on how independent artists that come from that particular arena, how can they submit their music to a radio station like yours?
Well, particularly for us, we are an all Christian hip hop station. So we cater largely to the Christian hip hop audience, but we do get some music that we are able to play. So they will be able to submit it 2 ways. On our website, we have a music submissions tab, and once you go to that music submissions tab, kind of have like a form. But prior to getting to the form, you just kind of outline some things that your music should encompass prior to us getting it. Should be mastered, mixed and mastered properly. Should be properly tagged. It should be labeled. It should sound like it was professionally produced. Mm-hmm. May have been done in the house, but it should sound professionally produced. But they can, if they meet that criteria, there's a place at the bottom of the page where you can actually upload your music, and we get it. We're able to get it. And if We also have an email address that they can email the music to us, and that's music for the number 4 transformationradio@gmail.com.
And once again, give out that information again.
The email or the just the process.
The email address.
The email address is music for transformationradio@gmail.com.
And we will make sure that we have that information available once again for our BV Mobile Apps podcast listeners, especially our artists that are interested in submitting their music to your radio station. Now, I noticed that, DJ Converzion, you don't call yourselves a gospel station. It's a Christian radio station. Like, what is the difference? What is the difference between calling it a Christian radio station versus a gospel station?
I think when people hear gospel, they expect to hear artists like Kirk Franklin, the Clark Sisters, and so on. But for us, probably the closest you would hear to Kirk Franklin is if he was a feature on a Christian hip hop song. So, in addition to that, I think it may also be just semantics, wordplay. I think, because we have so many different generations that listen to Christian music as a whole, depending on where you're from or where you live, you'll get gospel, because I still hear people say gospel rap, holy hip hop, Christian hip hop, CHH, all of those, and it's still all kind of referring to the same thing. So I think it, depending on who you talk to, I think it may just be more semantic than anything, or play on words.
I want to take a moment and switch gears to discuss the technical aspects of running a gospel radio station. Sorry, not a gospel radio station, but a Christian-based radio station like yours. Not just only the technical aspect, but the business side of running a Christian radio station, because you all got to make money somehow, some way, when you are in operations 24/7, providing music and content to your listeners. Let's talk about the licensing aspect first. For a lot of radio stations, whether you are terrestrial or internet radio based, and you playing music content 24/7 or every other hour, it's important to have a license. So break that down to our listening audience for one moment and talk about the licensing aspect. Is it as tedious as it appears, or is it real easy to get licensing for your radio station? And what are the agencies? This is another 2-part question. What are the agencies that one has to go to get fully licensed for their radio station?
Right. So it can be a hard process, or it can be easy. A lot of it depends on your budget and what you're able to spend. Money drives a lot of things, and so if you have a decent budget, you can go directly to the licensing sources like ASCAP, BMI, and things like that, and pay those pay the individual fees, or for the person that does not have the access to a lot of funds, there are options out there like Live 365 and a few others that allow you to pay a monthly fee, and they also offer options with that monthly fee that cover the aspect of royalties that's paid out to the artist, and things like that. So there are options from top to bottom that, if you're a small operation, you can choose that until you're able to grow and expand your operation 360, like I said, Live 365 is a good one. Or if you have a bigger budget to work with, you can go directly to the businesses like the BMI, the ASCAP, and pay those fees directly to them. But it is important to make sure that you are covered for licensure.
And what are the consequences of running an internet radio station or any radio station without those three agencies involved, or without the protection of being licensed? What are the consequences behind that?
Consequences, biggest consequences is just being sued by record companies, artists, and so that money that you didn't pay for coverage, you'll pay it in lawsuits and court costs and things like that. So it's extremely important to make sure that you are licensed, and that's one of the things that trial and error taught me when we first started out. Hey, you got to have licenses. You can't just play this music, So you have to be covered. It's so important to be covered.
Yeah, it becomes a teachable moment for all of us broadcasters. You live and you learn, and moving forward that, hey, I have to have protection for my internet radio station. It's just like a car. You have to have insurance when you drive that car, or even before you drive that car. You have to have insurance to protect yourself in the particular moment or time that you may be involved in an accident. So it's the same thing with a radio station. You have to have license with music. But if it's all talk podcast without any music or without any instrumentals, that's totally different. But with your radio station, which is more so music based with a mixture of talk programming and podcasts, it causes a balance for your radio station. At the same time, you're fully protected. So that's good information right there. Now, let's talk about the technical aspect of your internet radio station, but I want to intertwine that into social media. As much as I know that in the era of social media, marketing and promoting is a very big deal. And what I also noticed too, I noticed that a lot of radio broadcasters go live on social media, whether it's a talk show in progress or if the DJ is playing music in the background. Do you do a lot of that with Transformation Radio as far as going on Facebook Live and or IG Live?
Not so much live. We do a live when it first started. We went live at least 3 to 4 nights out of the week. But as we've grown over these past almost 5 years, we've had an opportunity to incorporate new shows and kind of pull back. Because our operation is so small, so I would tell you this, it is me and my wife, and I am the webmaster, the program director, I have everything, and my wife is my co-host on first and third Fridays, but marketing, promotion, all of that. So it's a lot. It's better to have a team, but it's a lot of definitely a lot of work.
But yeah, and I think that's what happens with a lot of internet radio stations when they starting out, first year in or the second year in, you find yourself just being your own team. You pretty much are your own one-man band. And as you continue to be consistent and you continue to be relevant and just pretty much ongoing with your operation, you start to find yourself working alongside 3, 4, 5 different people, and now you have a team, and it just grows from there. And one of my questions is that even in the era where everything is all virtual, are you guys still looking for extra assistants or interns or people that just want to volunteer their time to contribute to Transformation Radio? Are you guys still operating off of that, in need of extra assistance to help carry out your daily operations within Transformation Radio?
Well, we've been fortunate. We've been fortunate that many of the shows that we put on the station, they come with people who are versed in something, whether it's graphic design, marketing, whatever the case may be. But they have offered their assistance to us. Whether it be to help design flyers for different shows, or anything like that. Even submitting artist music to us. We've been able to get assistance from all of those different shows that are part of the station. The people that put on those shows, they've been able to offer assistance to us. So while the team is great, we have not been without need. You know what I mean? It's been one of those things where, as people come, they offer their assistance to help push the station along.
We're talking about the importance of having a Christian radio station in the community. I am talking to the owner and founder of Transformation Radio 12-2. I want to put that in there. Great call number to put that in there, by the way, DJ Converzion, on the phone lines with yours truly, the architect, Sean Garvey, BV Mobile Apps Podcast. Make sure to go online to bvmobileapps.com for more information. The importance of having a Christian radio station in today's society is extremely paramount. With everything that's going on right now, we are in turbulent times where people are in need of help, in need of empowerment or enlightenment, rather. And so with a Christian radio station like yours, I know that there have been times where people would challenge other people of God or of a faith when they turn on the radio, and some would say, oh man, all they doing is preaching. All they talking about is the same thing over and over and over again. They don't know my struggle. They don't know my story, blah, 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 blah. How do you handle that type of criticism from people that may not understand what you are trying to carry out through your radio platform?
Well, I would tell you this. I would never try to force the gospel on anybody, even if it was a hip hop. However, the vehicle is used to broadcast or present the gospel, I would never force it on you. I would present it to you in such a way that is not foreign to you. And so that's what we try to do with our station. We try to present it in such a way that, you said this was a gospel song? You said this was a Christian hip-hop song? I like it. We try to present it in a way that's not foreign, or it doesn't sound, it's not preachy. It's experiences. When programming the station, one of the things we try to ensure is that we're programming music that speaks to people's experiences and speaks to their situations. It also speaks of an answer, or solution. So you're not just getting one side of the coin; you're getting both sides of the coin. So that's how we try to sit through that issue. Just presenting both sides of the coin. We know and understand that there's problems and issues. We have them, but what the solution is, and if we can present it in a way that's not preachy, but speaks to the experience, I think we've accomplished what we set out to do.
I am a firm believer that people from different walks of life or different faith beliefs have different perspectives that can be or could be important to the community. And there's so many people with different religious beliefs and different outlook on life. It's good to have an understanding of where they came from. But let's say for example, there is a podcaster that wants to come on your radio station, Transformation Radio, he or she is not a Christian. They may be of a different faith, but they want to get their message out there to the people. Is the radio station Transformation Radio, are you all welcome to having someone of a different faith come to your station and present a content package to listening audience, but yet they are not Christian? What do you say to that?
I would say that whatever the message was, it could not be contradictory to the call signs of the station, which is out of, like I said, Romans 12:2. Is knowing that we are Christian-based, or a lot of people use the term faith-based. Well, I always solicit perspective shows for a sample of their show, so I can see what the content is, what the language is, and so I can either confirm or probably not looking for anything like that right now. But I'm a firm believer in giving everyone a listen. Everything doesn't always work out with a green light, but I believe in giving everybody an opportunity because someone gave me an opportunity. I was given an opportunity through another person who had an internet radio station to just submit mixes, and it took off from there. So I believe in giving at least a listen, so that I can see what the content actually is, and if it contradicts with what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to look like a hypocrite.
And to tie in with that, because you are also a music programmer, in which you help carry out the responsibilities of executing songs and music over the airwaves that speaks to the message of God and ties in with the theme of what Transformation Radio 12.2 is all about. However, there are some artists that have been well-known artists that have gravitated to the gospel arena, to Christian music before. The artist that comes to my mind right now, DJ Converzion, is Snoop Dogg. And once upon a time, not even that long ago, but Snoop Dogg did release a faith-based album or a faith-based project, which is totally outside of Snoop Dogg's element, which we all know right. Snoop Dogg to be a secular artist. When it comes to music programming and songs that you play on the air, do you find yourself at times playing a gospel song or a Christian-based song that contains a secular artist on there, knowing that there may be some criticism that comes along with it, but do you play that kind of music on your station that has a secular artist on the song, but yet he or she is rapping or singing gospel or Christian of that sort?
To date, I have not. And it's not that I don't support the music, because I would tell you from the double album that Snoop Dogg put out to Kanye West's last two albums, as well as his new single, I have them all. But it still seems like a contradiction, because you still see behaviors. The behavior contradicts with the word that they're putting out, And so like that, while it may not be an indication of what the station is about, it kind of calls into question, like, are we just looking for popularity and numbers because we played the Snoop Dogg song? Are we looking for popularity and numbers because we played the Kanye West song? And we're not in it for that. Our thing is to convey a message and ensure that people are being fed. So his message, that album fed a lot of people. It enriched a lot of people, but it also confused a lot of people. You know what I mean? And so it has to be careful to not give to be careful to give give a free pass because while the music may be great, it confuses that new Christian or that new convert. And so we have to make sure that we are being good stewards of the music, and we also make sure that we are being shepherds to what we feed to the sheep. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's got to be consistent. Mm-hmm. And so for Snoop Dogg, he put out that album and then turn around and put out something crazy.
You went back to the original Snoop Dogg.
Right. And so that would create more confusion and cast doubt to a new believer, mm-hmm. or mess with their theology, so we're not in the business for that. We want to make sure that when we present music, that we're presenting music that's going to feed people, Mm-hmm.
Now,
salute to Snoop Dogg.
Right. Snoop, keep doing your thing, Snoop. But what about if it's an artist, however, of DJ Converzion, what if it's an artist, say like Montel Jordan, and I know you all don't play a lot of vocalists on your station, is more so Christian hip-hop, holy hip-hop music on your station. But if it's somebody like a Montel Jordan who has done secular music but has been consistent with the kind of music that he has put out there that people will consider as somewhat gospel, inspirational, that type of thing, do you guys welcome that as opposed to a artist that would do a gospel or a Christian album and then go back to their original genre of music?
Yes. I would tell you, his most recent, I think Montel Jordan put out an album a few months ago. And there's a couple of songs, I want to say at least three songs from the album that we have in rotation on the station. So artists like Montel Jordan, or even an MC Light, because we've seen the fruit. Mm-hmm. It's not just a quick hitch and then I'm back. You've seen the fruit from artists like that. So I know MC Light did something with Warren Campbell. Now, if it's generic, it may be up for consideration. Generic in the sense that it's more positive than it is. It's not going to cast any confusion or anything like that. We would consider it. But like Montel Jordan is his message is being consistent. Let's see, he's doing like a throwback show, and then we also understand that artists have to eat too. Mm-hmm. So. But I mean, he's been pretty consistent in preaching the gospel and being a gospel artist over the years. So no objections to Montel Jordan.
Now, I want to go back to the technical aspect of having your own internet radio station, and I want to touch a little bit on the business side real quick, going back to it. As far as the technical aspect is concerned, you all also welcome, and we mentioned this earlier in the podcast, that you all also welcome podcasters. What is the protocol for podcasters coming on your platform? Is it where they have to have their material and content packaged to send to you guys, or do you all create and or produce the content for them to be aired on Transformation Radio? What is that process like?
We get a variety. We get a variety of artist packaging. So the typical show on the station is about 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours. 2 hours being the longest. So usually we request that we break it up into our increments. Because we do have most of the podcasts are 2 hours. Now, mixed shows are 1 hour, but the podcasts are usually 2 hours, except for we had one show that was an hour, and we could just upload that. We do have a show that's like 30 minutes, so we could just take it as it is. We just make sure that we properly label it. We label the show, and then get it in our server and for scheduling. So we do most of the work. We do most of the work unless the artist is consistent. Sometimes they're consistent with sending, we have DJ Ronnie Ron, who's consistent. He cuts his shows up in 2 parts, and he'll send them in, and I get them, and I'm able to upload them and just put them in order.
Okay.
And so it just depends on the artist.
Okay. It all depends. Gotcha. And as far as going back to the business side of your station, sponsors and advertisers, like I said earlier, you have to have some form of capital or money to keep a business going. And what is the process? And you can share this advice to anybody that is in the beginning stages of starting their own internet radio station, where it doesn't have to be necessarily Christian radio station, but any radio station that has a different genre. What is the process of getting advertisers and or sponsors to help financially back your radio entity?
I guess the biggest thing is you want to go to locations that you know. I mean, I don't think it will be an issue with soliciting out of what you know, but like we all know someone who has a business. We all know friends that provide a service. Just soliciting them for airtime. We even do like Patreon. We have a Patreon page where you can go there and make donations, and we'll provide you with the immediate release of like exclusive interviews and things like that. But just making sure that you are able to cover the bills for us. I will be totally honest with you. For us, Transformation Radio 12-2 has been more of a labor of love. So we have very few sponsors and business partners. What we do is we provide other services. Like I do some graphics for people. They bring in revenue, things like that. So I also DJ that brings in revenue. And I work a regular job as well. So
every little bit counts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. So sponsors, advertisers, if you're looking to come in and be a sponsor or advertiser to Transformation Radio, here's your opportunity. And they accept they accept love offerings all the time. So bring your blessing to Transformation Radio. Bring that love offering over to Transformation Radio 12-2, and we'll have DJ Converzion give out his contact information towards the end of the podcast. And we only have a few minutes left right here on the BV Mobile Apps podcast with your architect here, Sean Garvey, on the telephone lines with special guest, Transformation Radio's own DJ Converzion. When we talk about the importance of having a Christian radio station in the community, it stretches beyond the 4 walls of the radio station. What are some of the things that you, your wife, and or your team have done or already doing to help the community, to help people in the community that are less fortunate? What do you guys are doing right now or have done in the past to help those in need outside of the 4 walls of Transformation Radio?
In the past, we haven't really been able to do anything here in South Carolina. We kind of moved to the area, and COVID has kind of like kept us all in a cocoon. But in the past, we've done sock drives and things like that, where we're able to get sock donations for the homeless, food donations for the food bank. We've also worked in soup kitchens and things like that for the under the guise of the station. So just being able to give back to the community and come into partnership with the community is our biggest thing. Wherever we are, as you already know, we are a military family / business. So we move quite often. So we've moved a lot over the past years. So just being able to get our feet planted and just being able to give back to the community.
And also, speaking of which, giving back to the community, do you and your team find time to offer a prayer line to people that are going through it? They may be going through a level of stress or anxiety, especially in the pandemic that we're in now, and they just need somebody to talk to, somebody to pray with or pray to. Is there a prayer line that your team at Transformation Radio offer to its listeners?
Well, we don't have per se a prayer line, but our live shows that me and my wife do, we are able to provide information to people and also to solicit, requests and things like that during the show. We have like a chat on our website that we solicit people to submit everything from birthdays to prayers to a conversation, and we get information there. And we're able to submit those things for prayers, as well as like birthday announcements and general like requests, song requests, and information about the station. So when the opportunity presents itself on those live shows, yes.
To summarize it all up, DJ Converzion, why is it important to have a Christian radio station in the community?
I believe it's important to have a Christian radio station in the community to be the pulse of the community, to provide balance to communities, or our world is already spiraling out of control. It just helps to provide a voice and balance to all of the other things that we get pushed on us daily from the stresses of our job, home life, work, everything just gives us a balance. It has to give us a balance in our community.
Now, we're going to leave with this. What advice would you give to that person who wants to put together a Christian radio station? What advice can you give to that young boy or that young girl as they are on the journey to pursue their dreams of starting their own Christian radio station?
I would say pursue your dream, do your research, and don't be afraid. Because if you're afraid, you'll keep delaying it. And I think I had some fear. My wife was like, no, just go ahead and do it. So a lot of times you have to just go ahead and do it. But make sure that you do the research, count the cost. The Bible tells us to count the no man bills without counting the cost. So we want to make sure that you do the math on the necessary equipment that you need, and just go for it.
Romans 12:2 states, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." That is Transformation Radio 12:2. Mission is to help save souls, especially in these turbulent times that we're living in. And I advise and encourage everyone to take a moment to listen to Transformation Radio 12:2, which people can download the app through BV mobile apps, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Talk a little bit real quick about how people can download and or get the app to listen to Transformation Radio.
Well, thanks to the good people over at BV mobile apps, you can go over to your iTunes download store, or Google Play. Type in Transformation Radio, and the app will come up. It is awesome. It has been a lifesaver for me. Definitely for me. I'm sure the people that listen to the station, it's been a lifesaver for them, but it has saved my life. So you can download the app that way. Awesome app. That's an awesome app.
All right. Well, there you have it. DJ Converzion from Transformation Radio 12-2 on the line with me, yours truly, the architect Sean Garvey. And before we officially close out, give them the contact information on how artists and potential podcasters can be a part of your organization and where people can follow you.
On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and We Transform. That's W3TRANSFORM 3D. You can also contact us via email at transformationradio.2@gmail.com. And you can contact me, DJ Converzion, as well, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. DJ Converzion, that's DJ CONVERZION. And you can email me at djconverzion@gmail.com as well.
Okay, and that is Converzion with a Z as in zebra. Like Zion, yes. But it's Converzion. Got it.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, DJ Converzion, for taking time out of your busy schedule to give us this important advice on why it is important, keyword important of the day, why it is important to have a Christian radio station in the community. Much success to your movement, to your organization, and we wish you all the blessings in the world.
Thank you so much. Good to be on here. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for taking your time. And this is the architect here, Sean Garvey, letting you know to go to bvmobileapps.com for more information on how you can get your app customized today. So make sure you go to bvmobileapps.com. They have what you need and more. Make sure to follow me on all your social media at Sean Garvey on Facebook, Sean Garvey ATL on Twitter, and on Instagram. And we would love to hear from you. You can email us at podcast@bvmobileapps.com. That's podcast@bvmobileapps.com. Until the next time, we will talk to you soon. This has been the BV Mobile Apps Podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. Take care.
It's a new year. It's a new day. We're starting it over. Starting the day.
Thank you for listening to the BV Mobile Apps Podcast with your host, Sean Garvey. For more information about BV Mobile Apps, visit the website, bvmobileapps.com. Don't forget to follow BV Mobile Apps on social media at BV Mobile Apps. Tune in again next time on the BV Mobile Apps Podcast.